Welcome to Vedic Mathematics Basis Base Values classes. We are in phase 10. We are exposing, we are initiating ourselves to Shipron. We are continuing with the Videshwar Samhita organization format features. We have seen that Videshwar Samhita is the first Samhita. It is a scripture of 25 chapters. The organization of Shipron is of its first feature that it is organized as 7 Samhitas, and the first Samhita, Videshwar Samhita, is organized as of 25 chapters. We know that hypercube 5, the representative regular body of 5 space, is a fourfold manifestation layer, and this fourfold manifestation layer, when transits and transforms into the transcendence range, it becomes of value 25. Videshwar Samhita is a scripture of 25 chapters. Shipron is a scripture of 7 Samhitas. Therefore, the initial focus is upon this 7th value, base fold, 7 space in the roll of base. It is the 5th fold, and this focus initially takes us to value 25. As such, the first organization format feature of Videshwar Samhita is that it is a transcendence range beginning with 7 and the 5th transcendence phase. Therefore, we have to start with the base fold, which here is of value 7, and from this base fold, when we with the value 7, it becomes of a total value 25, and like that the organization of Videshwar Samhita will take us sequentially to the 25 steps as parallel to value 25 of the transcendence range 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We see here 3 spaces in the roll of dimension, 4 space is creative boundary, 5 space is transcendental domain, 6 space is the self-referral origin, and 7th space is the Dhruv pole star, and it is here where this organization is there. Further, we know that value 25 is parallel to the transcendental code value of formulation Prithvi, first element. It is also parallel to TCV value of formulation Vishnu, and it is also parallel to value Dukh, the pains. Therefore, from here, from this feature, we can have an idea as to how this formulation, Videshwar Samhita's organization format features as such are potent and are so organized. These will sequentially unfold for covering as many phenomenon features as are of our existence phenomenon within the solar universe. Therefore, let us sit comfortably, let us pray, let us transcendentally meditate, and now let us open the Shipron. Let us open the first page of Videshwar Samhita, and first chapter of Videshwar Samhita opens with a Mangalacharan. It opens with the transcendental projection, the end reach value. Here it is indicated that end reach value is that we are aspiring, we are urging, we are going to the shelter, we are aiming to attain a transcendental grace of the Lord, and the features are that Lord is of value, same value at the middle, at the beginning, at the end. Therefore, we have to visualize this 5 cross 5, this 25 number value is the value which is of a square 5 cross 5 grid value, and if we organize it as transcendence ranges 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 like this, parallel to the Varga consonants organization of Devanagari alphabet, then we can see that this organization format of the Varga consonants 25, and when it is organized as the transcendence ranges, then these transcendence ranges with this organization will lead to a northeast diagonal Ishan cone. This Ishan, this word Ishan, this northeast diagonal is the designation of the Lord Shiva. Therefore, Lord Shiva as Ishan, as northeast diagonal, is the diagonal which has value 5 at each of its 5 points. Further, one may be blissfully to be face to face with it that here at all the 5 points of this 5 cross 5 diagonal, northeast diagonal, value is 5. Further as that, if we have a square, then the mayors of the sides and of the diagonals remain the same, as there are 5 points on the sides and there are 5 points at the diagonal. Here the distance is dispensed with. Therefore, this feature of this organization format, working with a format of value 25, which is equal to 5 cross 5, which gives us a square format which accommodates 5 transcendence ranges of order 1 to order 5, and the diagonal becomes a diagonal of value 5 at each step, and further there are 5 points along the diagonal, as well as there are 5 points along each of the sides of the square. So we can say the diagonal is of 5 points, sides are also of 5 points. Therefore, the distance stands dispensed with. We are 5 points, we have 5 points, and the first achievement of this format is that here the distance, a measure with which we were working normally as a length along a line, so that is dispensed with. The Vedic systems are firstly successful to have a domain boundary ratio in such a way that the linearity, when transits and transforms into a circumference of a circle, so when Ved becomes a vrit, when hair becomes a circumference, and when it is changed along a diameter, then the success here is of the Vedic systems that curvature is dispensed with, which actually would mean that pi is dispensed with. We can make a note that Vedic systems have been successful to dispense with pi, dispense with a curvature by adopting a system of domains within boundaries. So, pair of consecutive spaces are taken, simultaneous manifestation as domain and a boundary. So, like in a square, the area and the circumference of a circle or perimeter of square gives us a common ratio. So, this common ratio for domain boundary ratio of a square as well as for the domain boundary ratio of the circle amounts to dispensing with the curvature, means we are dispensing the role of a pi. So this achievement of dispensing the role of a pi is further when along a grid we are working, that we make a 5 cross 5 grid, and then we see that in such an arrangement of sequential arrangement of transcendence ranges, the diagonal becomes of a 5 points organization, and at each point there is a value 5. Therefore, here the distance is also dispensed with. C. Vedic systems are firstly dispensing with the curvature. Make a note that Vedic systems are successful to dispense with the curvature by adopting simultaneous domain boundary format. So circle area and the circumference ratio, and the square its area and the perimeter. So area and perimeter of a square, area of the circle and of the circumference, the ratios in both cases are common. These are the representative regular bodies of two space. A step ahead, the domain boundary ratio of hypercube 3 or of a cube or of a square as well remains constant. Therefore, the Vedic systems, by adopting the format of a Sthapatya miring rod, have been successful firstly to dispense with the curvature, to dispense with the pi, and secondly by adopting the grid format, the systems are further successful to dispense with the distance, because there are 5 points along the side of a square as well as there are 5 points along the side of along the diagonal. Therefore, the distance, so in one way, the counts upon the diagonal and counts upon these sides are equal. Otherwise, we know that length of a square is less than the length of a diameter. Now, this difference in terms of length measures is as well dispensed with by adopting a technique of working along a grid format, and counts along the grid formats are such that number of counts along the side as well as the number of the counts along the diagonal remain the same. So firstly, curvature is dispensed with, pi is dispensed with, and secondly even length is dispensed with. Therefore, these two features, dispensing with the length and dispensing with the curvature, these two steps, these two attainments, this pair of features of the Vedic systems make them of higher potentialities than the present day modern systems, in which the distance measure, length as a measure, and the surface as a measure. So curvature and length and curvature are the two features which are the prominent features, prominent determinants, prominent factors which have definite role to play in the modern systems. But the Vedic systems are successful to dispense with both, dispensing with the length, a measure, and dispensing with the curvature, pi, are the success points which we have to imbibe fully. It is with this imbibing we can proceed further with the text of the Vedeshwar Samhita. The Mangala Charan, the initial transcendental projection which we are aiming to learn, which are aiming to imbibe, which are aiming to glimpse, is being given in the Mangala Charan itself. And here the first feature is that space, that domain, that Lord is the space, is the domain, is the space content, is the space content lump which remains uniformly the same, may it be at the beginning point, may it be at the end point, or maybe at the middle point. Therefore, beginning to end, throughout, at every point, every phase, every stage, it is of the same value. Therefore, it is being taken as that we are chasing along the Sthapatya miring rod, which accepts the domains within the folds, within the boundary folds, and with it the curvature is dispensed with. Further, the domains are approached in terms of the grids, n cross n grid, 5 cross 5 grid, and this 5 cross 5 grid gives us equal number of counts along the side as well as upon the diagonal. Therefore, while approaching Shiv Puran with first Vedeshwar Samhita, with its Mangala Charan, its initial transition projection, then one shall put to oneself that here the working steps are such that we have to work 5 space as a Sthapatya miring rod of values 1 to 5, a transcendence range, and it is of the spatial format. So 5 cross 5, so grid format. So grid format 5 cross 5 is the organization feature along which we have to work and chase, and of this grid as well we are chasing along the diagonal. This is northeast diagonal. This northeast diagonal is Ishan cone. Let us mention that the Shiv Puran Samhita with its Videshwar Samhita in terms of the Mangalacharan well indicates, well settles as that we have to initiate ourselves for to be within the transcendental domain in terms of a northeast diagonal, Ishan. Ishan is one of the transcendental designations of Lord Shiv. Lord Shiv is Ishan. Ishan in simple English rendering would mean northeast diagonal. This northeast diagonal is of 5 cross 5 grid. Therefore, we are approaching along a 5 cross 5 grid, and within this grid we are approaching along the northeast diagonal, which is having value 5 at each of its 5 points. All the 5 counts, all the 5 points along the northeast diagonal are of value 5. Therefore, beginning to end, at the middle, at every point, so at every point the value remains the same. The Mangalacharan is that we are aspiring for that we should reach the domain of the transcendental Lord, which is the same of same transcendental values at the beginning, at the end, at the middle, at each and every point along whole of the range of the existence phenomenon of the transcendental domain. Therefore, we are entering the transcendental domain. It is a 5 space domain. 5 space content lump is our starting point. It is our end point. And 5 space content lump is of such a feature that beginning to end and at each of its points in between beginning to end is the 5 space content itself. Therefore, our modern systems of approach of a universal sets of with all the measures and entities with which as a set theory or as a topology, as an open sets, whatever way we are approaching, we will comparing it subsequently to see that how these mathematical tools of the modern mathematics, as these are, they same remain incompetent or not potentialized enough or not sufficient to have an entry within a 5 space domain. So transcendence within 5 space domain is to be along a grid format of 5 cross 5 format, and the reach within 5 space domain is to be in terms of a northeast diagonal, and this northeast diagonal is a setup of 5 counts and each count is of value 5. So beginning to end throughout we have to work with value 5, and this will give us a value 25 for all the 5 counts along the northeast diagonal. Therefore 5 cross 5 as 25 as a 25 square units is the one way to look at value 25, and 5 cross 5 as 5 counts along the northeast diagonal being also of value 25 is the another aspect. So here with Videshwar Samhita we have to concentrate upon the organization format feature that we are approaching along 5 cross 5 grid in terms of its northeast diagonal, because it will help us have same value 5 at beginning, at the end, and at each and every point in between. Therefore, this 5 cross 5 grid format which we are having will be ultimately taking us to 5 cross 5 grid format of 5 cross Varga consonants. These 5 cross 5 Varga consonants ultimately with their values 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 will give us a format. This 5 cross 5 grid format. So Videshwar Samhita is adopting this particular format of our Devanagari alphabet. Therefore, let us make a note that the first organization format feature of Videshwar Samhita is preserved, indicated, pointed in the Mangalacharan itself, that it is to be of equal value at beginning to end and every point in between, and it is of the feature of 5 cross 5 Varga consonants. Further, let us take note that the Ganita Sutras text, in terms of which we are reaching at the mathematics, science and technology format. So we have seen that these 16 sutras and 13 upsutras, as these are not availing the value 3, 4, 5 and 6. So this hypercube 5, this 5 space body, this transcendental domain as such is being not taken in the manifested text. In this manifested text, we are availing ek, we are availing do, and we are availing 1, 2, then availing 7, 8, 9 and 10. But we are not availing 3, 4, 5 and 6. We have already seen that the values, quadruple values 3, 4, 5 and 6 are being not availed in this manifested text, and these are availed as the transcendental base. It is this transcendental base which supplies us these transcendental code values. So fourfold manifestation layer along a transcendental base supplies us this TCV values. That is why this 5 cross 5 Varga consonants with this 5 cross 5 grid of the transcendence ranges makes a particular format, and it is this format which is being availed for the organization of the Videshwar Samhita. So let us make a specific note that we have to sit comfortably and to permit the transcending mind to reach on first principles step by step as to how the organization format feature of Videshwar Samhita as of 25 chapters range is flowing from within the Mangalacharan itself. Then how the same makes a 5 cross 5 grid. Then how same takes us to the northeast diagonal, which is Ishan, a designation of Lord Maheshwara, Lord Shankar, Lord Shiva. So this transcendental designation is taking us diagonal, and from here how we are reaching that the grid of 5 transcendence ranges of linear order to the transcendental order, and this ultimately takes us to these Varga consonants. Therefore, the Varga consonants as Devanagari alphabet letters, when will be availed properly in the sequential way along the format of Videshwar Samhita, then it will help us reach at and to be face to face with as to how the text of Ganita Sutras and Upsutras in its manifested format, in its augmented format, that gap between the two sutras to be filled by the Upsutras, and when this augmented text is further transited to that each of the letters, these are 519 letters, each of the letters is supplied a dimonad format. Now it is this dimonad format reach can be chased, and it can be firstly chased in the form of a script. The script of letter A, Ka, and all the letters, 36 letters of this text, will see it is availing the double curve. We'll be coming to it subsequently that the dimonad format for each of the letter reflects in the script form settled for each of the letters. Further, this dimonad format for 519 letters gives us 1038. Now, there are 1000 transcendental names of Lord Shiva, which is the end fruit transcendental reach of Shiv Puran, and then additional 38 monads. So value 38 is the value which shall be comprehended well, that this value 38 is the value of the transcendental fire. This is the transcendental fire pillar which separates, which comes in between, becomes a fire wall, a transcendental wall between the Lord Brahma, four-head Lord, and Lord Vishnu. Both Lord Brahma and Lord Vishnu are having a transcendental fire pillar in between, a five space in between, and both neither the Lord Brahma nor Lord Vishnu are in a position to fathom the depth or the height of this. We will coming to it as to how the pentagon is constructing internal pentagon, and it goes ad infinitum and the center is never reached. Further, we know that the sixth space in the role of origin of five space will be splitting this five space domain in such a way that it will be taking us to value 16, and which is equal to the TCV value of a beach as well as of the TCV value of a jeep. Like that, this self-referral origin to be transcended out is a feature with which we will be reaching at, and then there will be a split of a 5 into 5, and it is this split of a 5 into 5 will be making this grid. Therefore, while we will be through the knowledge of Videshwar Samhita along this 5x5 organization format, then we will see that the knowledge here will be of the enlightenment, as that between the domains of Lord Brahma and of Lord Vishnu, there is a domain of a Lord Shiva. This transcendental domain as a transcendental fire pillar separates the domains of four space and of a six space. It is this placement of transcendental domain segregating the four space domain from the five space domain which deserves to be comprehended well. Therefore, we have to sit comfortably, we have to sequentially pray in terms of the text of Ganita Sutras and Upsutras, and we know that this text of Ganita Sutras and Upsutras is not availing the quadruple values 3, 4, 5 and 6, which makes a manifestation layer or hypercube 5, and this hypercube 5 as such becomes the transcendental base. Therefore, this text of Ganita Sutras and Ganita Upsutras deserves to be augmented. This augmentation is to be as the gaps between the consecutive Ganita Sutras are to be fulfilled, and this augmented text is to be taken a step ahead. Then each of the letters, 519 letters, is to be supplied a dimonad format. This dimonad format will be making 1000 plus 38. Now let us see how the dimensional synthesis phenomenon. These dimonad formats are like that we are having a many sticks or many entities. These are discrete entities. If we put them on a plate, then the plate will carry them. So these discrete entities behaving as a continuum because of the surface plate is the phenomenon which is to be comprehended well, and it is this feature of the Vedic systems that the discrete entities to be by their placement upon a uniform base along a plate will retain, preserve and carry forward a continuum. So to having a continuum for discrete entities is the another feature. Once these all features are with us, then we have to see as to how the dimensional synthesis phenomenon works. We know the single linear dimension is of value 1, but the pair of linear dimensions give us value 3, and triple dimensions give us value 6, quadruple values give us value 10, and 5 penta values give 50, then it comes 60. However, when the spatial dimensional order is there, then these become value 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. Let us have a pause and see the sum of the first 4 entities of linear, spatial and all order is that it gives a sum 1 plus 3 plus 6 plus 10 is 20. 2 for 4, 6 for 8 is also 20. So all the quadruple synthesis of linear, pair, triple and quadruple dimensions of same order, may it be of linear, may it be of spatial, may it be of solid, all give the value 20. Now it is this attainment of a value 20 for all of them is a feature which deserves to be added, and once we are face to face with this particular phenomenon, then we can see that this value 20 and the next value is 15. So the linear transcendence range gives us a value 35. But here value remains 30. So at each step value 5 is being reduced. So when we are at a created dimensional order, it will give us a value 20. Therefore the creative dimensional order as it is giving value 20 for the first 4 steps as well as for the 5th step. Therefore the feature of the creative dimensional order is such that the same goes undistinguishable for the 4-fold manifestation layers format as well as for the 5-fold transcendence ranges. It is here where only the transcendental meditation or a shift from creative format of 4 space to the transcendental format at the base of the creative format is to be reached and to be glimpsed. It is why the augmented text is to be worked out by providing a dimonad for each of the letter, and then these dimonad formats will create a 1000 monads as a one class and 38 as another class. Therefore this reach and this value 38 is the value which is being specifically worked out and is being segregated. One should make a note that we have to be very slow in having a reading of the text of Shiv Puran. We have to see, we have to be cautious that each letter, each formulation, each word, each organization feature has mathematical message. If we are not absorbing these features sequentially in the order in which these are in place in the text, then we are missing something. Therefore, one is to be slow. One shall proceed very gently in very soft steps, and these gentle and soft steps will be taking to the end reach surely, and it is only this way that we can ensure that we reach there. Thank you very much.